Hollywood scandal. Dakota and Jamie go public about their relationship. Chris Martin is surprised. Dakota Johnson stepped out of a black SUV outside the Los Angeles premiere of her new movie. The afternoon sun shone on her shiny brown hair, she was wearing a long beige coat, and she held a small handbag. Cameras flashed, but she just smiled slightly and walked away. Less than an hour later, the news spread on social media: Dakota Johnson is seriously dating Jamie Dornan. Many fans were excited, some were surprised, some applauded, but most were curious: is this true? In a small cafe in downtown LA, Chris Martin, Dakota's longtime friend, was scrolling through his phone when he saw a message from his manager. "Chris, I heard Dakota and Jamie are serious." Chris frowned. He sat down, staring at the steaming latte in front of him. He knew Dakota. She never went public with her relationship unless she was sure. Really? He thought, surprised, but at the same time a feeling of unease crept in. The unexpected date. The next day, Jamie Dornan appeared at a small Hollywood party, which Dakota also attended. When she entered the room, Jamie stood up to greet her. It was not a polite nod, but a warm look, containing genuine concern. Dakota approached, whispering, "We need to talk about us." Jamie looked at her, his eyes half serious, half teasing. "I know, I want to make it clear too." The whole party, they stood next to each other, chatting quietly but enough for the observant reporters to notice. Dakota smiled lightly, her eyes looking straight at Jamie, a determined look, no longer hesitant. Chris Martin surprised. Chris Martin was invited to attend a music event in the same area. When he saw Dakota and Jamie together, standing close together like a real couple, he felt a slight shock. He approached Dakota after the event, with a smile mixed with curiosity. "Dakota, is this true? You and Jamie, are you serious?" Dakota laughed, shrugging. "You know me, Chris. If I said serious, then I am serious." Chris was silent for a second, eyes wide. "Wow, I didn't expect this to happen so quickly." Dakota held his hand, squinting, surprised. "Don't worry, we're still best friends." Chris laughed, but he still felt a little confused. He knew that this relationship would change some of their habits, some of the conversations they had. The rumor spread. The next day, the entertainment news sites exploded. The headlines were: Dakota Johnson and Jamie Dornan, Hollywood's new couple. Chris Martin can't believe it when Dakota confirms she's serious. Jamie Dornan finally found the one. Dakota's fans are split into two camps. One is supportive, the other is skeptical. The entire social media seems to be boiling. Dakota and Jamie, unwillingly, are caught up in the whirlwind of rumors. Meanwhile, Chris Martin is still texting Dakota. "Are you serious?" Dakota replies simply, "Yes, and I'm happy." The straight talk. One weekend afternoon, Dakota invited Jamie and Chris to her house. It was the first time Chris had actually spoken to Jamie face to face. Chris began. "Jamie, I don't know what to say. Dakota is my best friend, and I just want to make sure." Jamie chuckled. "I understand, Chris. Dakota is important to me. I'm serious, I'm not kidding." Chris looked at him, examining him. He saw that Jamie was telling the truth. And Dakota, she smiled, resting her head on Jamie's shoulder. There was a moment of silence, and Chris felt both relieved and surprised. "Okay," Chris said, sighing. "Looks like I'll have to get used to you having Jamie." Dakota looked at him, winking. "Yeah, But you're still Chris Martin, your unbreakable best friend. The days that followed. Dakota and Jamie began to appear in public together, but not too loudly. They went for walks, attended events together, but still kept a certain amount of privacy. Chris Martin sometimes appeared with them, still not hiding his surprise at how serious the new couple had become. One evening, at a charity gala, Jamie held Dakota's hand in front of the camera. Chris stood nearby, smiling wryly. "Okay, I have to admit, you're serious," Dakota smiled, shrugging. "I told you. This time, for sure." The three of them enjoyed the party together, a picture of friendship and love mixed together. Chris was still surprised, but happy for Dakota.